This is not a PR stunt. This is hiring the absolute best person we can find to lead the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, and that's Carol Folt. She is going to be fantastic here.
That's right. The university has elected a new chancellor.
It's the first female to hold the job, and tonight, a special report on what Carol Folt will be facing.
The challenges like sexual assault,
the role of athletics at the university, and more.
Carolina Week starts now.
From the UNC School of Journalism and Mass Communication, covering Carolina in HD, this is Carolina Week.
Holden Thorpe told us back in September he would be stepping down. Now we have a new chancellor, and for the first time, the university will be led by a woman. Good evening, I'm Avery Harper.
And I'm Alex Giles. Carol Folt is her name, and one thing's for sure, she'll have her hands full. We have a series of reports on all of that. First, the announcement.
It is my great privilege to recommend to the Board of Governors the election of Dr. Carol Folt as the Chancellor of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, effective July 1st.
The UNC Board of Governors unanimously agreed to appoint Dartmouth University interim president Carol Folt as UNC's next chancellor. Folt is excited to take on the role as UNC's first female chancellor.
The time for women in higher ed in leadership, of course, is clearly here. You have women chancellors in the system. We see women in these roles because of all the work women and men have done to create these opportunities.
UNC System President Tom Ross says Folt was the best choice for the job, and she wasn't chosen just because she's a woman.
This is not a PR stunt. This is hiring the absolute best person we can find to lead the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, and that's Carol Folt. She is going to be fantastic here.
Faculty Chairwoman Jan Boxell was on the Chancellor Search Committee. She says Folt is a good selection to help the university through these tough times.
The reason is because she can work with everybody. She will collaborate. She will bring the people to the table that need to be brought to the table, because that's the only way you're going to work through them.
Folt isn't the only one at the university taking on a new position of leadership. UNC's next student body president, Christy Lambden, is confident that he and Folt can help the university overcome its recent issues.
I think a lot of the controversies, we're working to try and get past them as quickly as we possibly can, and I think she's going to be on board with that and working quickly to try and help us with that, and I've got full belief that we'll be able to do it together.
And it seems that Folt is on board with Lambden and the rest of the university.
So we know that this is a challenging moment for higher education in America, but I absolutely know that we're going to meet those challenges, and I believe that we will work together to fulfill the promise of this absolutely great university and wonderful system.
It looks like for Folt, the challenge has been accepted. Folt will work with Chancellor Holden Thorpe in the transition period until she officially takes over on July 1st.
Folt says she's ready to take on the role of chancellor, but it's not an easy job. Just how hard is it? Reporter Kiara Palmer sat down with someone who should know, former UNC Chancellor James Measer.
To hit the ground running when I arrived in August.
Is being a chancellor hard? I'm just curious.
It's hard. Yes, it's hard, but it's exhilarating. It's hard because you have so many different constituencies, and making them and pleasing them all, it's just at the same time is virtually impossible.
Let's talk about her being the first female chancellor of UNC.
It's a wonderful thing in the first place. 65% of our students are female, so for the first time. They will have a role model in South Building at the very top, and I think that is really a cool thing.
We know the new chancellor is going to face some challenges. We talked about this earlier. Now I'm going to name a few of those challenges that are kind of everybody knows about UNC. Could you just tell me how she should approach each of these issues? So the first one actually is going to be searching for a new provost, which you said you had to deal with when you first became chancellor. Carol
Folt will have this really critical appointment to make. It's her most important personnel decision of all, is the choice of her provost, because that is the key position on this campus. She will probably, because she's coming in from the outside, she'll probably choose an internal candidate.
Sexual assault reporting, how should she handle issues like that?
She just needs to let the process work. She needs to hold people accountable, but she needs to let it work.
What's the key advice that she needs to know?
I think listening and learning as much about the strengths of this place, and the issues we face.
Is there anything you'd like to add?
I think the last thing I want to say is that I am excited about her. I think I think she's going to be a great leader for this university, and I look forward to watching what she does.
Those are some broad issues Chancellor Folt will face, but there are a host of specific issues, and Folt will have to address a campus community seeking change. I talked to student leaders about some of those challenges.
Candid conversation, talking to the Women's Center, talking to the LGBTQ Center, making sure that she's in these spaces to actually hear the stories from the students and try to figure out what is it she can do in her role to help make sure that this is a safe environment for all students, especially students who are sexual and gender minorities.
The administrators definitely need to talk to us more. We don't really have as much of a connection with the administration as I would like for us to have. So I think that's something that she could definitely reach out and get to know us, get to know a lot of students by their names, and I think it'll work to help with relations.
We have very high expectations, and I hope that she can, bring us to the table because we want to help her out. And I think that's one of the biggest problems in terms of dealing with sexual assault is that, we're not at the table. And we can help heal the campus. We know how to deal with it. We know the law. We know our own experiences.
Folt will also have to join in on the ongoing discussion about the role athletics plays at UNC. The Rawlings panel is a group of former student athletes and higher education professionals from around the country. They will meet Friday to start the discussion. Carolina Connection producer Mike Rodriguez spoke with someone who will address the panel. He joins us now. Mike, thank you for joining us. Do you know what the direction the panel is planning on heading in?
Alex, I spoke with Jay Billis last week. He's a former Duke basketball player and he works for ESPN now. And he was talking about how athletics and academics kind of need to be separated. They just can't, you really shouldn't be working too much together. He brought up he brought up the tutoring scandal that was kind of, happening to UNC. And he was like, why was athletics even worried about tutoring? He says they need to trust each other. They need to trust each other to do their own job. But at the same time, academics needs to focus on academics. Athletics needs to focus on athletics.
Absolutely. Definitely a complex situation. What should we be looking for coming out of this panel, Mike?
Well, this is definitely just a preliminary thing. There's going to be no final decisions made. But one of the things they have to talk about is, the new chancellor, Carol Folt. She's coming from Dartmouth College, where athletics isn't really too big of a deal. It's an Ivy League school. So it'll be interesting to see if they take that into account any.
Absolutely. Can anybody attend this panel?
Yes, of course. It's open to the public. It's from 1 to 3 on Friday in the Carolina Inn. And if they want to ask questions, they can.
Mike Rodriguez, senior producer for Carolina Connection. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Carol Folt has just begun a long transition. We've highlighted several different areas she'll have to address.
And the university seems ready for a fresh start, and I wish we could be around to see it, but it's our last newscast, Alex.
I know, Avery. Graduation's just around the corner. I've thoroughly enjoyed working with you.
I've enjoyed working with you, too.
We'll be right back.
Connect with us online by liking the Carolina Week Facebook page and following us on Twitter at Carolina Week UNC.
Get caught buzz driving, and you could do some hard time.
Craig, knock it off.
Sorry, Mom. It could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. And that could set you back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
This song was created with heartbeats of children in need. Find out how it can help frontline health workers bring hope to millions of children at everybeatmatters.org.
Chapel Hill is a great place to go to school and a great place to live. It's just not the most affordable place. Renting and housing prices can be through the roof.
Absolutely. Lower income residents can have a hard time finding a home. That can lead to a lack of diversity. Reporter Janelle Davis takes a closer look at the issue.
Cullen Crossing Apartments, formerly known as Abbey Court, continues to increase its prices. Nancy Alorando says her rent may increase $200.
I have to move and go someplace cheaper.
Chapel Hill has the most expensive housing in the Triangle. Housing planner Megan Worley says the town's development boundary is a key factor to the high prices.
When you limit the land that you can develop on, the land within that boundary becomes incredibly more expensive.
Local resident Sydney Wisnant fears the town is being stripped of its diversity.
Chapel Hill's always been a pretty place, but we don't want it to be a plastic place.
On average, more than 250 households are on the waiting list for public housing at any given time.
Habitat for Humanity is addressing this need by building 12 homes a year.
I actually saw my house go from like nothing but just gravel to like now a house, and I'm looking like that's my house.
Kiana Phillips is a proud homeowner. The first year of the Phoenix Project, Habitat for Humanity received 99 applications. The town has also launched several initiatives to address affordable housing. But for La Rondo and other Collin Crossing residents, it may be too late.
I want to make it impossible for them to drive people out of our community.
As prices continue to climb, the challenge of building a diverse community is leading to more questions than answers. In Chapel Hill, I'm Janelle Davis.
The town council reports housing in Chapel Hill is about 34% higher than even an affluent town like Cary, 64% higher than Durham, and 63% higher than Raleigh.
Alert Carolina. Some students don't think it's all that alert, that the system isn't working. Reporter Jonathan White tells us why.
If you go on Facebook or Twitter, you might see this. UNC has major issues reporting real rape, but no problem sending out campus-wide email about a false one. Or maybe this. If a gunman was on UNC's campus, they'd send out an Alert Carolina message 2 days later.
Alert Carolina and DPS have taken a lot of heat the past 3 weeks. Here's why.
They waited a week to send out an alert about threatening vandalism. They sent a message about a false sexual assault. And they didn't send a message about a suspect in a shooting who escaped from UNC hospitals. Here are a few opinions about Alert Carolina.
I think that Alert Carolina is a really important thing that we have, but it needs to be a little more on top of things.
We haven't been as aware, I think, as we should have about things happening around the community.
I don't necessarily trust it because they take forever to respond.
As far as Alert Carolina goes, I feel like we always get the emails too late. They're like, oh, someone was assaulted 12 hours ago. Like, how is that going to help me?
I mean, it's good we're getting the text, but they're coming in like 12, 24 hours late.
DPS does have a system. There are 3 types of alerts. Emergency warnings for immediate health or safety threats, like a gunman on campus. Siren sounds and a text message is immediately sent out. Timely warnings for danger on campus that is not an immediate threat, like robberies, hate crimes, or homicides. Text messages are sent out when deemed appropriate by DPS. And informational messages for health and safety situations that are of interest, but not a threat, like an arrest of a suspect. Campus emails are sent out, again, when deemed appropriate by DPS. DPS Chief McCracken says it's very easy to criticize it, but they do try to listen closely to complaints.
We welcome input. If there are things that we can do to improve the system, we're going to improve the system.
Many students aren't satisfied. They think it's too slow, and they will continue to say so, especially on Twitter and Facebook. In Chapel Hill, I'm Jonathan White.
The Department of Public Safety sends warning messages to more than 40,000 phones and 50,000 email addresses when activated. Chief Jeff McCracken admits the department waited too long to send out a message about the vandalism.
UNC Park and Ride will no longer be free come August. That's right, and the increase may be pretty hefty for some people. The lots that will be affected are the Friday Center, Hedrick Building, Highway 54, Chatham, Franklin Street, and the lot at 725 MLK. Unlike the set $250 fee given by the town of Chapel Hill, UNC's fee will be based on salary. Drivers making less than $25,000 a year will pay $227 per year. Drivers earning between $25,000 and $50,000 will pay $250. And drivers earning $50,000 or more can see fee prices range from $300 to $390 a year.
Last night, Polk Place was filled with seniors for the last lecture. The evening started off with a barbecue and came to a close with a lecture from Dr. Jeannie Loeb from the psychology department. She gave seniors 4 pieces of advice: work hard, be prepared, do what you love, and love someone. Other senior events throughout the week include the Senior Bell Tower Climb, which is happening tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Seniors, this is something you don't want to miss. Senior Bar Golf is also happening tomorrow. Seniors can pick up a wristband and a scorecard at the Bell Tower Climb. Friday night, head to the senior tailgate at the Navy Field before the home baseball game against Duke at 7 p.m. And wrap up senior week. The senior ball will be happening Saturday night at Top of the Hill. Tickets are $15 per person or $25 per couple. Tickets can be purchased online or at the Bell Tower Climb.
As we told you earlier in our story about the last lecture, Dr. Loeb told seniors to work hard and to do what you love. But landing a job you want can be tough, especially that first job right out of college. Vanessa Martinez takes a look at what you should be doing if you're about to enter the job market.
Jasmine Cogdell is a public relations major who wants to go into advertising. She graduates in May. She's been preparing for life after college since her freshman year, but she still doesn't have a job.
Currently, I'm still job searching. I've had a couple interviews. There was one position that I was interviewing for, but I didn't get it.
The current unemployment rate in the United States is 7.6%. It's almost twice as high among recent college graduates at 13.5%. Jeff Sakharoff is Associate Director of Career Services. He says students shouldn't be discouraged.
So I think for students, regardless of the economy, it's important that they stay focused and are doing all those activities and behaviors to help them be successful.
But that's not the only factor that contributes to employment after college graduation.
How you present yourself to potential employers also plays a role.
Definitely, if you're in person, it's always better to overdress than to underdress, in my opinion.
90% of UNC's class of 2012 reported being employed or in graduate school. This gives Cogdell hope, and she has no intention of giving up on her job search.
I'm just applying to stuff and still interviewing.
In Chapel Hill, I'm Vanessa Martinez.
If you need interviewing tips, help with your resume or cover letter, visit Career Services in Haynes Hall. Well, Avery, it is really hot outside.
I know. I wonder if it's going to cool down. Drew Day has weather next.
Cook foods to the right temperature using a food thermometer. 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Are you getting this, honey?
Oh, prime time. We are rolling.
All right, Mama's gonna bring it home. Mama's gonna bring it home. Okay.
Come on, watch this guy.
Oh, backwards.
Oh, don't.
Oh. It went into Bob and Carol's yard. Oh, no? Okay, Yeah. here it comes.
Oh, no!
Challenge your kids to be active and eat healthy.
All right, let's see what you can do. Let's go.
They might surprise you.
Let's go.
Search We Can for more ideas on how you and your kids can get healthy together.
Welcome back to Carolina Week, everyone. I'm Drew Day. Thank you so much for staying with us. We're going to go ahead and start off your forecast this evening with a look at the visible satellite across the state today. We have plenty of sunshine across the area, and that allowed temperatures to make it up into the low 80s across the state. But you do see this one little area of bright cloud tops off to our north and west. This was a little area of precipitation off to our north thanks to a frontal system that's nearby the area. And this frontal system that you can see right here on the surface map has a small chance that it could bring us a shower or two later on this evening, although it's unlikely. But we just want to mention it because there is about a 20% chance that we could see a sprinkle out there later on this evening. But as you wake up tomorrow morning, it'll be clear, partly cloudy skies across the area. Very nice tomorrow. A little bit of moisture, so there will be some cloud cover, but no precipitation expected. We will be dry, and then that trend continues right on into tomorrow evening. But ahead of this cold front that's off to our west, this is going to be the next system that we're watching. But ahead of it, we're going to have some warm air coming up from the south. So our temperatures will remain in the 80s for the next several days until this front passes on Friday, and behind this front we have some cooler air that will be moving on in. So as we take a look at a little bit greater detail about what we expect to happen on Friday in terms of precipitation, this is a simulation of what the radar may look like on Friday. And you can see that by 2 p.m. in the afternoon, the main area of precipitation is located right in here. So it's still back off in the mountains, although there could be a scattered shower or two that breaks out ahead of that, but it would be light in nature. The main heavy precipitation would come through about 5 p.m. in the evening and continue right on through 8 p.m. And after 8 p.m., the showers will start to lessen just a bit, but they will continue throughout the overnight period on Friday, right on into Saturday morning. So we expect that this will be a really good rainmaker for us, with perhaps over ½ an inch of precipitation expected from this system. So overnight tonight, we expect our temperatures to drop down to about 60 degrees with partly cloudy skies across the area, and light winds will be very mild out there. Just a nice evening if you have any outdoor plans. And then for tomorrow, we expect 80 degrees across the area with winds 5 to 10 miles per hour under partly cloudy skies. So pretty much what we had across the area today will be what we have tomorrow. And then as we take a look at the 5-day forecast now, after a high of 80 on Thursday, we expect 78 degrees for Friday with that heavy rain and precipitation with 78 degrees. And then behind that front, much cooler, our temperatures will be dropping down into the 60s. And then our next chance of precipitation would be on Monday. So guys, it looks like we're going to have a wild variety of weather here for the next several days.
I'll dare say, Drew, I guess it can't stay nice forever, huh?
No, the weather is always changing around here in North Carolina.
Yeah, it's definitely North Carolina weather.
Yes, indeed.
Thanks, Drew.
All right, you're welcome.
Bullock and McAdoo. Only one will be back in a Tar Heel uniform next season. Find out who next.
$7,000 high school students drop out every school day. Let's catch them before it's too late. To start helping students in your community, visit boostup.org.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
The first day stepping on the court, I couldn't keep up. That motivated me to step up my game. When I reach a goal, I set a new one the next day. And my next goal is to go to college. Mastering the court takes persistence. So does getting into college. I've got what it takes. So do you.
Now we have some good news and bad news for you tonight. Last week we told you that PJ Harrison was coming back, and one more will be joining him, James Michael McAdoo. The Norfolk, Virginia will be coming back for his junior season. He averaged 14 points and 7 rebounds and scored in double figures 32 times with 9 double-doubles. He finished fourth in the ACC for steals, leading the team with 54 this past season. McAdoo earned second team all-conference honors. And for the bad news, key wingman junior Reggie Bullock is leaving for the NBA. Bullock averaged almost 14 points per game for the Heels this season and was a big outside threat, shooting a team best 43% from the three. Bullock is expected to be a late first rounder or second rounder, according to various mock NBA drafts. And it's football season again in Chapel Hill. One thing was guaranteed at this weekend's spring game: Carolina was going to win. Some familiar sights in Kenan Stadium, like former Tar Heel running back Gio Bernard. But he wasn't playing this time. Quarterback Bren Renner was, though, and more the same from him. He threw for 216 passing yards and 3 touchdowns, like this 33-yard screen pass to A.J. Blue, leading the Blue team to a 34-10 victory. Some new things were on display Saturday. These, the new Nike Pro Combat uniforms. Those all-black versions you see there will be worn against Miami for the Thursday night game, or Zero Dark Thursday, as the football team is calling it. Defensive back Trey Boston says it's nice to have something new.
Can't wait to wear those, but I can't wait to wear any of them. It's just, I'm happy to have something new in here. Usually it's about tradition, and I'm happy to switch it up a little bit.
40 years ago, Reggie McAfee made history as a Tar Heel track star. He became the first African American to run a mile in less than 4 minutes, dispelling some myths of the day. UNC honored his accomplishment this past Saturday at the final meet of the season, naming the mile race the McAfee Mile.
No one can run a mile in his shoes, but Saturday runners ran a mile in his name. Being the first African American to run a sub 4-minute mile is a very specific goal that Reggie McAfee had in mind more than 40 years ago before coming to UNC.
There was a lot of stereotypes that African Americans were just sprinters, but I just enjoy running. And I just knew that it was my passion, so I decided to do what I love. And I love to run, and that was one goal that I decided I was going to go after.
It was mission accomplished in 1973, but don't confuse McAfee with a contented man.
No, I finished second, and I was upset about the fact that I finished second because I'm about finishing first.
Now McAfee instills that winning character in young people interested in distance running through the Cross Country for Youth program he started in 2006. UNC head coach Harless Metter says that's as much a reason for honoring McAfee as his historic run is.
We want to be tremendous athletes. We want to graduate, do well academically. Then we want to go out into the professional world and give back to the community. So he's doing what we're challenging all of our kids to do.
None of the runners in the McAfee Mile conquered the challenge of running a sub 4-minute mile, but McAfee says the event should still serve as inspiration.
If one looks back at your history and say, well, could I have done this or could I have done that? I always feel like the impossible is possible.
And the possible is only a mile away. In Chapel Hill, I'm Julian Caldwell.
As fast as he ran that mile, McAfee didn't win the race. He finished second to teammate Tony Waldron, who still holds the outdoor record in the mile with a time of 3 minutes and 59 seconds. McAfee holds the school record for the outdoor 800-meter. And the baseball team's still streaking. Don't worry, the players have all their clothes on. They just can't lose. The Diamond Heels beat Coastal Carolina Tuesday night 5-1, extending their winning streak to 10 games. The Heels were held hitless through 5 innings, but only trailed 1-0 due to another stellar outing from starter pitcher Chris Munnelly. The senior struck out 6 batters in 6 1/3 innings of work, improving to 4-0 on the season. Outfielder Chaz Frank broke up Coastal Carolina's no-hit bid in the 6th with a deep drive to right center field and a beautiful head slide into third to finish it off. Parks Jordan extended the lead in the 7th with an RBI double to left field, and the Heels never looked back. The top-ranked Tar Heels improved 35-2 on the season and will look to continue their win streak tonight against Elon at 6 p.m. at Boshamer Stadium. And going back, I know I'm really going to miss Bullock, but I'm glad to see that McAdoo is going to stay.
It is going to be sad to have Reggie leaving, but I think we all wish him the best of luck in the NBA draft coming up. Hopefully he ends up on a team.
Absolutely do. Tar Heel born and bred, right? We have pride for all of them.
Definitely. Thanks, Natalia.
No problem.
A 5K with a little twist. Find out how these runners colored the hill next.
If you have a story idea, call Carolina Week at 919-843-8292 or email us at carolinaweek@unc.edu. And if you have questions about this program, write to us at Carolina Week, Campus Box 3365, UNCCH, Chapel Hill, North Carolina 27599. Be sure to check out Carolina Week online at carolinaweek.org.
Separate raw meats from other foods by using different cutting boards. 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Organizers say they're happy with the turnout for Chapel Hill's first color run, Color the Hill. More than 700 people registered for the 5K. Runners started the race by throwing color packets at one another. The The race benefited 3 local nonprofits and welcomed runners from as far away as Camp Lejeune and Fort Bragg.
As we said before, this is our last newscast of the semester. I know this was a great learning experience for me. What about you, Alex?
I mean, we had some hiccups here and there, but overall, I think we've done okay.
We definitely have. Well, Carolina will be back, so.
Carolina Week will be back. Unfortunately, we will not. Have a safe and happy summer.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Good night.